In conversation with Tolu A. Akinyemi. Tolu A. Akinyemi, also known as Tolutoludo and the Lion of Newcastle, is a multiple award-winning author in the genres of poetry, short stories, children's literatures, and essays. A former headline act at Great Northern Slam, Havering Literary Festival, Tyne Festival, Feltonbury Act and Music Festival, the Stanza, and the Cocaine Port. He has appeared as a featured guest on BBC Radio, Spark Sunderland, Right Radio Sheffield, Live 93.2 FM, Post 906.6 FM, among others. He's a co-founder of Lion and Lilac, a UK-based art organization, seat on the boards of many organizations. And on today's episode of Photo Interview, it's my utmost pleasure and joy to have on the show today Tolu A. Akinyemi as one of the second guests for our re-examining authors' literature work series. Welcome on the show, Tolu. Wow.
Thank you, Peter, for having me. It's great to be back here, roaring together with you again. And yeah, looking forward to dissecting my literary works with you.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure as well. After we've had quite a lot of conversation many years ago, talking about Never Play Games with the Devil, talking about Inferno of Silence, and some of your other works. It's lovely to have you back on the show. I'm excited, really.
Thank you very much. And yeah, thank you for having my collection of poems, A Bookful Love, as your featured for the Akure Book Club as well. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. So, Tolu, last year we talked about quite a lot of your books, starting from Never Play Games with the Devil to Inferno of Silence and the writing process, and many other things. And also, as well as featuring a book for love for a recent June's edition of the Akure Book Club. And I'm thrilled that we are here again. So, I'd love us to do a wrap up. What has changed ever since the publication of those two books? Has anything changed so far in your literature endeavors?
Yeah, so I think, the last time we had the author interview, we talked about my publication of 20 books. So
Yeah.
now I've authored and published 22 books.
Wow.
So you said last year I released a collection of financial crime compliance poems, Architect of a Cleaner Financial System. Is a collection of poems that x-rays inherent risk within financial crime compliance and shows how we can mitigate them. In this book, I address subjects such as compliance programs, know your customer, sanctions, anti-money laundering, due diligence, politically exposed persons, risk assessment, screening, and many other topics. Yeah, so this is the first collection in human history's first collection of financial crime compliance poems that addresses the subject matter area. And I'm happy to be the first poet in history when this story is retold in years to come. The
Wow.
first poet in history to release a full-length collection of financial crime compliance poems. I
Wow.
also, on the 1st of January this year, I released my poetry chapel titled Voyage. Voyage is a book of poems that explores the voyage of love and life in the context of true love, heartbreak, loss, and many other facets of love. Yeah, so this is another one that came out. So it's just a travel. I think I had that little spell where late last year where I just had this burst of inspiration
Wow.
and I was able to write and yeah, release book on the 1st of January. Yeah, so these are the latest two additions to my literary knowledge bank, and I'm happy I've been able to release these new books.
Wow. That's quite commendable. I mean, that's quite a lot of work you've got ongoing, really. It sounds quite amazing to me.
Thank you, Peter.
Yeah, it's quite amazing. And I would also assume that a poet like you, who has published numerous titles, we also have some other Doxty manuscript, like you always call it, that is in its developmental stage. And I would want me to ask you if you have any other works you're currently working on. Also, what number would that give you in total of published works?
Currently in progress, I have three books, which will take me to a total of 25 books. I
Wow.
have my memoir, which is still like in progress. I have a non-fiction book for young people as well, and my novel as well, which is currently in progress. So I've currently published 22, three in progress. I also have the mind to publish a children's picture book as well,
Mm.
sometimes next year. Yeah, yeah, so maybe after the four that are in progress, that'll take me to 2026. But I think currently I'm just taking my time. If I'm able to release a book or at least two books in a year, that works perfectly fine for me. Yes, but I think I'm in a chill era, chill mode, dealing with other issues, family, work, and
Yeah.
just trying, 22 books is a lot of work out there. So
Jeez.
I'm under no pressure to, release any new work at the moment. But yeah, just taking my time and taking it, taking each day as it comes as well.
Yeah, it is. I mean, and I remember we talking about your memoir last year, last 2 years, when you mentioned that. I was like, oh, interesting. I'm looking forward to that, really. And also to know
Yes,
you're having a children's picture book and a novel too in progress. That sounds like a lot of work, and I hope you have find some times to sleep, really.
yeah. At the moment, I'm sleeping well, I'm sleeping good. Sleeping well, sleeping good, taking my time, and yeah, I've achieved the quota for this year, one book already. Yeah, so just taking
Wow.
it. And yeah, so whatever is in progress, maybe
Yeah.
additional book for this year, but hopefully next time we'll release an additional book. Yeah.
Interesting. Interesting. Well, this is quite inspiring. Very well done. Thank you. And let's talk
Right.
about yeah. That's a lot of work you've got ongoing. Quite commendable, really.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now let's talk about your inspirations and ideas. I've always been fascinated about how authors, especially one like you, who has written in multiple genres, would craft long sentences in terms of stories and craft lines and stanzas in terms of poetry in a way that it eventually makes a great book. And this always leaves me thinking about exactly did I get the ideas and inspirations to pull this work together? Now, as far as writing is concerned, I would like to ask you too, how do you get your inspirations and ideas? Where did they come from? I mean, to write this bunch and trunkload of books, where did they get it from?
I'm a writer who loves to observe, recount, and document history, and not just my story, not just my history, but our collective stories, our collective histories. I'm a child of the human experience, a
Yeah.
writer of the human experience. And, if seen every day, the more we live, the more we learn, I'm able to like pick a lot from all the experiences that impact us as humans. And from some of my titles, like Black Does Not Equal Inferior, which
Mm,
speaks to people of the Black experience, which, the inspiration just came after the killing of George Floyd Jr. in the US.
mm,
And, just a book that could serve as a mantra for the Black community that being a Black person does not make you inferior in any way. Also, some of my poetry titles like A God in a Human Body, which speaks to our, our collective power as humans, that we are all divine beings.
mm,
So just this collection of poems is a meditation on the fleeting nature of human life. It explores themes of spirituality, divinity. So my experiences from all the facets of the human experience, that we all are a bundle of experiences. And also from like I think from in terms of experience, like inspiration as well. Some of my books feed from one book to another. Like in Inferno of Silence, I had a story titled Black Lives Matter. And one of the main characters said in that story, Black is not a synonym for an inferior.
mm.
Black is not inferior. And after that, that became like a sort of inspiration that fed off into that other collection of points. Black does not equal inferior.
Interesting.
I had a story titled Everybody Don't Kulu Mental,
Mentor,
which
yeah.
also metamorphosed into my collection of poems, Everybody Don't Kulu Mental, which
Interesting.
addresses the universal, the
Mm,
struggles that we all deal with. And these stories, these experiences are universal in nature. Because the things that affect me as a person also affects you, affects the next person out there. We all have dreams, we all love, they break our hearts, we experience loss. So this
Mm.
expresses in nature, and I'm happy that I'm a writer who is able to bring all of this together. I'm a writer who fits a lot on the human experience,
Yeah.
and that has been where I have derived my literary powers from, the human experience. I'm a child of the human experience.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can relate with you. As a poet, I can relate to the switch in one poem in a particular book to it metamorphosing to another, topic in another book, which is quite amazing, actually. Yeah, it's something that I can relate to. I've seen and I've experienced personally. And again, to know that you write about the human condition, I just want to make me to ask you, it just pop up in my head because after reading A Book for Love in a
Yeah.
book club, I'm quite intrigued and curious to ask you as to how the inspiration towards writing A Book for Love come to be. Because in the collection, we have so many things in there that are quite human existent. They are centered on the human condition, the human circumstances, the human experience, and all of that, which is quite amazing and quite beautiful to me. So I'd love to ask you, how did A Booktiful Love come to be, and how did you select that title, even particularly A Booktiful Love, for a collection as that deep? Yeah.
Yeah, so that let me talk about the title selection.
Okay.
I went on to Goodreads to vote for a Nigerian writer who had been nominated for a Goodreads award. And,
Oh.
I did just voted for her. And I started seeing Goodreads recommend other genres for me. I just said, oh, let me vote in these other categories. And the inspiration just came like, oh, just seeing the other genres of literature. Like, oh, wow, this would make a beautiful poem. And that night I started writing that poem because that inspiration was just there. I
Oh.
titled it A Bookful Love. And when the whole collection was written and pieced together, I felt, oh, this would be a unique title because talking about, the multiplicity of life,
Yeah.
the human experience, and a comparison, you're talking about a beautiful love because a section of the book was devoted to love, just
Mm.
the area of love, a beautiful love and all of that people
Yeah.
face, relationships, divorce, heartbreak, all the sweet loving relationships and all of that. I felt it would be very good, like that title, a beautiful love, using a book to interpolate, to interpret the title. And yeah, I think that really worked as well. So,
Yeah.
but Beautiful Love itself as a collection was written at a time, where a lot was going on
Mm.
war in the world at that time. And I just felt like, yeah, this would be a title that would make a whole lot of difference. There were some late additions after I had finished the collection, and those were the COVID poems, Isolation,
Oh.
Lockdown. And yeah,
Oh.
and those ended up being like very very poems that people really resonated with. And
Mm.
because the COVID time was just like a once in a lifetime or could potentially be like a once in a lifetime experience that shook the whole world. Those poems,
Yeah.
yeah, they became like very a vital piece of that collection. Yeah, but Booktiful Love
Absolutely.
addressed a lot of issues, from inspiration, from societal issues, and just talking about love as well. So I'm happy
Mm.
I released that book. It won the Best Indie Book Awards,
Yeah.
the two category as well. Yeah, so
Interesting.
yeah, and I had really lovely poems. Bury Me in a Library, which
Yeah.
yeah is a profound poem. Anyway, I perform the poem. The
It's a
reception.
lovely one.
I have like Strange Dance of Chickens, which people have committed as being really epic as well. Yeah, so yeah, it's a really beautiful collection, and it's a testament to the fact that even up until now, when I have performances and I still it's still a favorite. It's still one
Mm.
of my personal favorites as well in terms of and
His
also
right to write.
is a fan favorite as well. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
right to write. the importance of writers, using our voices, in
Absolutely.
this way. Yeah, so it's a really good collection.
Yeah, it's a great one. It's a trunk load of amazing works you've got there in a book to love. Quite impressive that I'm looking forward to exploring more of your 22 published already works. Interesting.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
yeah. And someone who has published that huge number of books, I would like you to tell us your experience with your writing process. Was it a fun ride for you? Or it's a tricky one? How would you describe your writing process generally?
Yeah, I think my writing process is, as a writer who has written and published so many books, I
Yeah.
think I'm someone who tries on creative bursts in terms of sporadic. Yeah, it just happens. Like I don't tend to force it. There are some school
Mm,
of thought that will tell you, oh, write 100 words per day, write 1,000 words per day.
yeah.
Don't follow that school of thought. I believe that a writer should be able to write whenever they want to write without any rules. I think
Tied
that's
to it, of
yeah,
course.
there's just a free license to write
Yeah.
whenever, wherever. And I think as a writer,
However,
however,
nice
I've followed
one.
that as well. Used written books on my phone, like from start to finish.
Yeah.
I've written books in the dead of the night. I've written books in the early morning. I've written while I was jogging on like running, jogging. The ideas flow and I'm writing. So a writer should have that license to write
Mm.
writing without rules, without anyone telling you, oh, this is when you have to write. And I think it's very, very important that we as writers, yeah, so for my process, it's just like I'm a free spirit. I don't tend to conform to rules. I just write whenever the inspiration comes.
Writing, basically more like writing irrespectively,
Yeah.
writing regardless of the situation or the condition at the time with which a poem or the particular writer was written. As you're speaking, I'm taking some notes so I can go back and learn.
Yeah, just writing, just do your thing, because most times
Absolutely.
people want to conform to say, oh, this person says, or a writer has, just lectured you to say, oh, write 100 words, write 500 words
Oh, no,
per
no, no.
day. No,
Yeah,
yeah. If the writing talent is in there, then it doesn't need rules to find the expression. You should be able to, you could discipline yourself, you could
yeah,
work
yeah,
towards writing, you could have goals, it's not wrong.
yeah,
But for me personally, I don't. I'm just a man without those set of personal rules and conditions. I just write whenever I feel like
yeah.
writing. Really
Yeah,
works.
more like something
Really works for me.
coming to you randomly. Yeah, just speaking randomly. You just have to pick your pen and start writing. Yeah, it's a lovely one. Thank you. Thank you for mentioning. Thank
And I
you.
think as writers as well, we should always be ready because you could be in situations, ideas could come from anywhere. It could just be I've had like ideas just in conversations with friends,
Yeah.
that now led to like my poetry chapbook was just a word like from a friend who had just made a remark to me at that time, and that just became the catalyst for the chapbook of poems. So at the end of the day, as a writer, you must be receptive, open the heart of your mind to ideas because that could be like a catalyst to it, and open your ears as well to
Mm,
experiences, not just yours,
other
to
people.
experiences happening around you,
Yeah.
yes, other people's experiences, things you hear about. That could be the idea that will lead to another book. So writers we should be open-minded in terms of ideas and
Mm,
not trying to look for ideas in obscure places, but just
mm.
be receptive and just with that mindset that ideas could pop up from anywhere and we should be ready. You don't need to have a laptop with you or anything, even just your mind processing that information again and again
Yeah.
will definitely work in the favor of a writer.
That's amazing. That's really amazing. Thank you for mentioning that. And I'd like to ask you, how do you find time to write? Following on your answer to the first question, how do you find time to write and how do you combine your personal day job with writing? I'm asking this because it's a re-examining series. We are trying to re-examine authors that have been featured in the past 1, 2, 3 years in P English literature. So I'd love to ask you, how do you combine your personal work and writing? I'd love to hear that too.
Yeah, so I think I always tell people when they ask me, how do you find time to write? I always say that you will always find time for whatever you believe is important to you.
Yeah,
Our
wow.
body needs food. We need to replenish it with nutrients. We drink water to stay hydrated. And we go for the water, we go for, we eat. So I see writing also from that spectrum as well, that I need to always find time to write because writing is important to me. It's
Yeah,
like it's like my heartbeat. It drives me as well. So, but I think in terms of my work and my writing career, I work within the compliance industry and specifically within corporate compliance testing and monitoring at the moment. And
yeah,
also my work involves doing a lot of research, doing a lot of, writing reports, presenting reports to stakeholders,
yeah.
attending meetings, talking to stakeholders. So these are also vital skills as well. So
Mm,
the writing skills has really come in handy in my day job. Yeah. So I think it's just being able to like marry the two together in terms
interesting.
of time to write. Like I said, whatever is important to you. Although I'm not a writer who is conditioned by what I mentioned earlier to say, oh, I need to write every day. So I
Mm,
give I give my work I give myself the opportunity to let my work shine. And whenever I need my writing to shine or I need to write a new book or continue with my work in progress, I just get going with that. So,
yeah.
but I'm not under any pressure to say, oh, I need to wake up tomorrow morning and start writing because I have a lot of books in my backlist, and those books in my backlist are doing really well.
Mm,
Even some of my Facebook deadlines don't roll. People still buy it,
interesting.
still want to go back. They want to go to the beginning and just see, how it was. So I think that gives me a lot of joy as well that, the backlist is doing really well. And if I have to release any book in the future, I would, the grace is always there to be able to write here. So, but I
Yeah.
don't really put myself under any pressure and I don't let my writing career affect my work career as well, because I am a firm believer in that we need to develop excellence as a workplace culture. And as someone who has written inspirational books as well,
Yeah.
you want to walk the talk. You need to
Yeah.
show if you want to be excellent. Can you show others how
Be
to
an
be excellent?
example.
Can you go the extra mile? When no one is watching you, can you deliver on your goals or your targets?
Mm,
So I think it's very important, like as a writer, as a thought leader, as someone who others look up to as well, to be good examples. Yeah, so I think personally, I just do not allow my writing career affect my work career. I just put my best foot forward. That is the mantra that I live by.
that's amazing. I mean, that's quite amazing. As a mentor, too, you have to lead by example. That's quite beautiful. I would love you to recite a couple poem or read an excerpt from any of your works. But before then, let's talk about the challenges and joy. I think you mentioned quite a bit of this already. But then I'd love you to talk about the challenges and joy associated with being a writer. Are there any challenges you've encountered in the process of writing your entire 22 books? And also, is there anything that makes you excited with being a writer that you'd like to specifically talk about?
Yeah, I think let me talk about the challenges first. I think
Yeah.
it's, as a writer, writing makes you feel vulnerable. Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, so as a writer, writing makes you feel like very vulnerable because there's a lot of writing comes with a lot of vulnerability.
Mm,
I think one of my personal quotes says writing is a vulnerable sport. And yeah, so I think that is the same for all writers.
yeah.
When you put out an idea, you espouse an idea to people, to strangers, to the world. Not everybody will like that idea. People
Mm,
could interpret it to infer, people could infer that it's your personal experience when it's not. So I think that's one of the, challenges or
Yeah.
that a young writer and aspiring writer could face. I also know that a lot of people face the imposter syndrome. A lot
Yeah.
of people feel they are not original enough, and that has led to a lot of like counterfeit writers who want to like plagiarize others. And I
Mm.
think the way the writing community works as well is that everyone is feeling like people tend to write like the same way. And then they read a new voice or a different voice, someone who has chosen their own niche, their own unique path,
Yeah.
rather than celebrate that writer for choosing to walk in their own path, they tend to put
Mm.
that down because the writer has not conformed to the general acceptable way or the general way of thinking, which is
Mm.
very bad. So I think
Conventional
that has led to a lot of young writers, or new writers not to believe in themselves, not to believe in their own talent. They want
Yeah.
to. Some believe that some new writers or young writers, let me even talk about the African or Nigerian literary scene. They believe that they need validation to magazines, they need validation to journals before.
Yeah.
So everyone, so like, let me talk about the poetry scene. People are trying to like copy one
Oh,
another. Everyone is sounding
interesting.
alike because everyone is looking for that validation. But for me
Mm.
as a writer, 2024, I've not submitted anything to any literary magazine or journal. And that is just my life because I'm not looking for that validation. I'm not looking for that acclaim to say, oh, my work needs to be accepted in whatever magazine or journal for me to
Mm.
become who I am. So I think it's very important for young writers to
Interesting.
not to be tied and tangled in that web whereby you need validation from a magazine or you need validation from a community to show that you've arrived. And that is
Mm.
why we have cases of plagiarism, people stealing other people's works. Because
Mm.
they just, even though their literary talent is not capable of producing such works, but they want the fame as well. They want the success that they have been sold, that is the only way you can be a successful writer. But
Mm.
I believe that you can be a successful writer by just charting your own paths, writing your own way, not looking for anyone's validation. I don't want to be a poster boy for any media, any media outlet. I don't want to be that one they look up to say, oh, to validate or just to be a success story because I'm being validated by the press or validated by a section of the media. I want to
Mm.
be authentic to myself, authentic
Interesting.
to my voice, which is very important. I think these are some of the challenges that new writers face. I think
Yeah.
it's very important that we tell them the importance of being authentic to themselves, being authentic to just have your own voice, write whichever way you want
Mm.
to can own your skills in the future, but don't try to imitate anyone. Don't try to be like anyone else. You are good. Those are, when people start out, they don't know, they don't get all of this advice. They just want
Yeah.
to be the next person and either by hook or crook, then they start, chatting that part. So I think it's
Mm.
very important that we tell young writers that we
Y-
tell young girls that yeah, there's success outside of looking for validation in those intricate spaces because it could come with a web of problem and entanglement that will be hard to get
Best team as well.
to be free from.
This this is a trunk load of advice you've got. This is a trunk load of it's quite educative, it's quite inspiring, causing you to examine yourself and think once again. I mean, I love the fact that you mentioned, it doesn't have to conform to the conventional style of writing. You
Yeah, it
can
doesn't.
go with your voice, with your style, which is quite unique, and also not to be entangled in the web of validation. This is quite amazing as well. These are quite impressive teams, quite impressive subject that quite a lot of new writers need to hear about. Thank you for mentioning. Love to go back to this again and rewatch. Quite amazing and quite educative. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I think I think it was sometimes this year I had a review for one of my I think it was Black Does Not Equal Inferior, which has been, has had like amazing reviews and all of that. And the reviewer said, "Oh, Tolu, belongs to the class of Maya Angelou and, name some other notable Black writers in terms of revolutionary works and all of that." But the
Mm.
reviewer said, "Oh, because of the language, then um, I won't be, the reviewer will not put me in that class." But I believe that nobody has a right to demarket anybody's work
Yeah.
based on, you didn't form the language. If people choose to go like in language that is easy to understand and they see they are able to produce an amazing work of literature, that
Yeah.
should not give anybody to say, "Oh, you can't remove him from a pedestal that's all over
Mm.
the world, have been put on, have been celebrated as a writer who writes moving works, who
Interesting.
writes, yeah." So I believe that for another writer, they may take that to heart, or it could be, but at the end of the day, we need to tell people that you don't need validation. Critics, there will be critics, there will be,
Yeah.
that's why not everybody will vibe with a book or vibe with anything. But just keep doing what
Absolutely.
you're doing. If you have a particular style and that's your style, just stick to that style if it works
Yeah.
for you. Nobody can say, "Oh, this is you're going to put you on this pedestal because yours is not difficult poetry or is accessible poetry and all of that." Nobody has that right. You have the right
Yeah.
to write in whatever way you want to write. And yeah, so I think this is very important, to talk about these situations,
Absolutely.
especially for young writers as well, so that they know
Yeah.
that this should not hinder them or hamper them or, make them feel like, oh, they're not getting their flowers whilst they are writing over their life.
Thank you so much. This speaks volume, actually, and it's quite delivering. Thank you. Thank you. Now, could we have a couple poem recitation and, a particular website or a platform where interested viewers can get a copy of any of your works?
Yeah, so I'll read a couple of poems. Yeah, I'll read Bury Me in the Library from my collection of poems in Bookful Love. Then
Yeah.
I'll read maybe from the other books. Bury Me in the Library. Write my name on the map when my time is up.
So,
Give me a statue, a gigantic statue. Bury me with a catalog of books. Don't railroad my chance to walk this Hall of Fame with a badge of honor.
mm,
You say no smoke without fire. Lightning kissed doors and we were consumed in the hail of fire. Draw me with all my imperfections.
mm,
Touch me with my fields, with my scars and wrinkles, mistakes and joy, sorrows and dreams. Erase nothing, for
nothing.
when I go, I want to go clean. Write my name in the sands of time before my sun goes down and twilight arrives. Okay.
Mm. That's quite amazing. I mean, that's quite lovely. Part of the ones I love wholeheartedly in the book to for love. Let's have the second one.
I think the next one I'll be reading is titled Pray
Okay.
from a God in a Human Body.
Yeah.
Erase the shadows of yesterday deeper than a manhole. Pray it, say it, just one more time. Wipe out the blemish of history hanging like dark clouds. Pray it, say it, so this won't be a hill to climb. Expose the debris of the past that has left the future in peril. Pray it, say it, so tomorrow will be fine.
Wow. That's quite amazing. I can go on and on and on and on and on, but we're running out of time. I would have said we should keep on going. This is quite amazing, quite lovely, quite awesome, and I love it wholeheartedly. And just in case we have some viewers who are currently watching this conversation, I would love to get a copy of any of your books. On what platform are they available on for purchase?
Yeah, so my books are available for purchase on my website, tolutoludo.com. That's Tolutoludo.com. Also
Yeah,
available on the Roaring Lion Newcastle.com, and also available on all Amazon marketplaces, on Barnes and Noble, and other places where books are sold. I'm on Instagram at Tolutoludo, on Facebook at Tolu A Akinyemi, and also on Twitter at Tolu Akinyemi and Tolutoludo.
that's great. And I love to link in the discussion part of this interview where interested viewers can get a copy of Tolu A. Akiemi's books directly on the mentioned websites and also on Amazon. And I left link too in the description to his media following or possible followings. So thank you so much, Tolu A. Akiemi, for coming on, being the second author featured for Examining Authors Literature Work series. Well, authors have been featured in the past 1, 2, and 3 years on P English Literature. It's lovely to catch up with you. This is quite exciting.
Thank you, Peter. Great to catch up with you. And I want to use the opportunity to say a happy birthday to the great Nigerian literary icon. Happy 90th birthday to Shoyinka. Let's give Professor Wole Soyinka a loud roar like a lion to celebrate his birthday.
Roar.
Roar!
You are quite fun. That's quite
Honestly, catch
amazing.
up with you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure.